it could...
Welcome back to Midweek Politics. I'm David Pakman. Moving on with today's show, a lot to get to. Because it is the close to the last show of the year, we're going to get to the top lies of 2009. But first, here's something interesting. In relation to a lot of the recent terrorist attempts that some say have been thwarted, and some say never took place, and some say will continue to happen, Ben Stein and Ron Paul got into a little bit of an argument. And to me, this is an interesting combination. I mean, Lewis, when you think of Ron Paul, what I kind of think of the Republican who isn't really a Republican. I mean, I don't know. What would you consider him?
Libertarian. I don't know.
And at the same time, when you think of Ben Stein, I think of the Republican who is just very, very concerned with keeping his money. So
Right.
when you bring the two together, it creates an interesting dynamic. And here's exactly what happened on Larry King.
Well, I've never heard anything quite like that in my whole life. What he's saying basically is we are doing something wrong by defending ourselves. Look, if these terrorists are trying to kill the government of Yemen, we've got to help defend them. They're our friends. We can't just let al-Qaeda run wild. If we try to stop them, that's not sufficient provocation. Why should we stop them?
Why?
Because they're terrorists and murderers, and they're very anti-American.
Why are they
should
terrorists?
we stop terrorists and murderers?
Well,
Surely,
Larry,
Congressman, what do you think they're
why are they
congressmen?
terrorists?
They're terrorists and murderers because they're psychos. They're terrorists and murderers.
They're terrorists because we're occupiers.
And murders. But we...
No,
we're not occupiers. That's the same anti-Semitic
question.
argument we've heard over and over again. No, that's the same anti-Semitic argument we've heard over and over and over again.
Attack.
Look,
Larry, I think
one at a time, guys.
It's not a vicious attack.
Larry, I'd like to
you ought to
respond to some of these points.
Okay, I mean, the interview just it goes much quicker and everybody talks at the same time. You just can't understand anybody.
Right.
So,
well, I mean, Ron Paul's always been the guy who thinks changing foreign policy can fix everything.
he did right. I have to say I don't agree with Ron Paul that the only reason there's terrorists is because the U.S. is an occupier.
There's going to be terrorism, I think, no matter where we are. Even if we're isolationists, I think there's going to be acts of terrorism.
Is there terrorism in Iceland where you visited? I don't know that they do have that type of issue, and they are very isolationist.
Yes, I don't know. I'd have to look into it.
I don't think it's
Certainly
something they think
major.
about. No, they have plenty of other problems in Iceland, but I don't think terrorism is one of them. But to say that it's simply because they're isolationists is extrapolating a lot. They're also not influencing the foreign policy of other countries in the way that the United States is. But for Ben Stein to say that simply suggesting that the U.S. being in another country relates back to an anti-Semitic position related to Israel and Palestine is also way off. I mean, both of these guys are way off, are they not?
They're both kind of ridiculous. I'd say Ben Stein was way off there.
Lies of the year. What were the top lies told in 2009? Well,
spoken,
told. Yeah. How would you? I guess even if it's written, it's still a lie, right?
Well, like the mission accomplished flag on the aircraft carrier or whatever.
Right. It's not nobody said mission accomplished, but yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
Right.
The Bush administration, by the way, sometimes goes back to that, and they said he never really said mission accomplished. He said major combat operations have ended. I don't buy it.
But the sign said mission accomplished.
Either way, that wasn't in 2009. So top lies of the year, 2009, wrapping things up. Number 9, because it's 2009, Joe Biden's claim that when one person sneezes, it, quote, goes all the way through the aircraft, possibly infecting everyone with swine flu. Simply not true. Did he just not know? Fine. We're not saying all of these are deliberate lies, but in many cases they are, and we'll as we go up the chain. Number 8, Barack Obama saying healthcare currently causes a bankruptcy every 30 seconds. Not true. It's been looked into, and it's actually more like a bankruptcy once a minute, which is still not great, but
well,
he was
double.
It's double, exactly. That's the argument, that he was off by 100%. Number 7, Joe Wilson's shouting of "you lie," suggesting that Barack Obama's healthcare reform bill would specifically cover illegal immigrants. We know that that's not true. We know Joe Wilson made a complete fool out of himself and got the evil eye from Nancy Pelosi.
Mm-hmm.
Number 6, Lou Dobbs' claim that illegal Mexican immigrants were responsible for spreading swine flu around the world and specifically to the U.S. We know that that one's not true.
That was popular though, not just with him.
Well, something about Lou Dobbs. He always says, sometimes he says things that they're clearly racist, and sometimes he says things where it's going to be racist, but he catches himself.
Not a single one of these these just ridiculous politicians.
So number 6 lie of the year for 2009, Lou Dobbs. Number 5, the swine flu vaccine. And this is a multi-part one. It's either not safe, it could kill you, it'll paralyze you, and if you don't get it, the government will force you into a quarantine camp. We know that one is a favorite of many of the anti-medicine folks. And on Facebook, I see even people I'm friends with on Facebook saying, don't get that swine flu vaccine. I feel sorry for you if you get it, because there's a good chance you'll end up paralyzed. Not true.
Well, in very rare cases, it can do some pretty nasty things to you.
Yes, but it's no different.
As well as the normal flu vaccine.
That's right. And the swine flu vaccine was put together the exact same way that every year's swine flu vaccine has been for the last 25 or something
regular
years.
Flu vaccine.
What did I say?
Swine flu.
Right. Number 4, Glenn Beck's claim that Obama's administration has proposed forcing abortions and sterilizing people through the drinking water secretly. Not true. I hope most people are aware of that. Number 3, birthers, and of course our good friend Orly Taits, who is not only a lawyer and a dentist, but a lawyer, dentist, and real estate agent who claimed that Barack Obama was born in Kenya, and she really wanted to see that long-form birth certificate because the short-form birth certificates are wrong all the time.
Well, one time in here we watched a video of her. And I saw what she looked like, heard her talk, and immediately just discredited her, right?